my own. Through the dark, through the door, through where no one's been before, but it feels like home. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say I've lost my mind. I don't care, so call me crazy. We can live in a world that we design. 'Cause every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. Oh, a million dreams for the world we're gonna make. There's a house we can build. Every room inside is filled with things from far away. The special things I compile, each one there to make you smile on a rainy day. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say we've lost our minds. I don't care if they call us crazy. Run away to a world that we design. Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. Oh, a million dreams for the world we're gonna make. However big, however small, let me be part of it all. Share your dreams with me. You may be right, you may be wrong, but say that you'll bring me along to the world you see, to the world I close my eyes to see. I close my eyes to see. Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make. For the world we're gonna make. I close my eyes and I can see a world that's waiting up for me, that I call my own. Through the dark, through the door, through where no one's been before, but it feels like home. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say I've lost my mind. I don't care, so call me crazy. We can live in a world that we design. 'Cause every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. Oh, a million dreams for the world we're gonna make. There's a house we can build. Every room inside is filled with things from far away. The special things I compile, each one there to make you smile on a rainy day. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say we've lost our minds. I don't care if they call us crazy. Run away to a world that we design. Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. Oh, a million dreams for the world we're gonna make. However big, however small, let me be part of it all. Share your dreams with me. You may be right, you may be wrong, but say that you'll bring me along to the world you see, to the world I close my eyes to see. I close my eyes to see. Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make. For the world we're gonna make.
Good afternoon, everyone. At this time, I will be introducing our moderator for the afternoon. Our moderator is the primary chair or chair of the primary education for the Maypen DA, no other person than Mrs. Katie Stevenson King.
Thank you very much, Mr. Scott. Good afternoon, everyone, colleagues, parents, and students, and welcome to our session entitled Pep Talk. I am Katie Stevenson King, teacher at the Chandler's Pen Primary School and also primary chair at the Maypen District Association. Assisting me this afternoon is Miss Tamara Hamlin, teacher at the Faith Basic School. To begin the session this afternoon, I'm just going to invite Pastor Howard Grant Longley, Senior Pastor of the Maypen District Association Circuit of Churches, to lead us in a short devotional exercise just to invite the Lord in our presence. Pastor Longley, over to you, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much, Mrs. Cowan. Am I right?
Mrs. King.
Mrs. King. Okay. Thank you very much. This evening, I want to share with you for the next 5 minutes under the theme, the law of victory. The law of victory. Shall we pray? Heavenly Father, we thank you, Lord, for your blessings. We thank you for this wonderful opportunity that we have to share as teachers, parents, and students in this session that will encourage and seek to motivate our children in their upcoming exams. Be with us as we open your words, we pray. Amen. Now, I love good books. And one of the great authors of our day is a man by the name of John Maxwell. John Maxwell wrote a book entitled The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And law number 15 is the law of victory. Now, it speaks to how you become a victorious leader. It shares the components of the law of victory, which are 3: a unified vision, a diversity of skills, and a dedication to victory. But I want to use his law from a biblical perspective. The story of David and Goliath is one that we all know. And David defeats Goliath and everyone wins. And it's recorded in 1 Samuel 17, 19 through 58. Now, I won't take time to read the entire story or read any part of it, but just to bring some insights on the law of victory that this story shares with us. Now, everyone will agree with me, both students, parents, and teachers, that victory is fun. No one likes to lose. I remember that I used to switch houses while I was in primary school when I think that my house would lose. But then most times the blue house would win. But no one would like to lose. And when we practice the law of victory, it impacts everyone around us. It affects everyone around us, including the leader. Now, consider the story of David in his battle with Goliath. David practiced the law of victory. He transformed the once paralyzed Israelite soldiers into a force capable of defeating the invincible Philistine army. How did he do it? Now, I'm using this and I'm going to share what I think it is. David represents the students, the teachers, the parents. Goliath represents this big exam that's coming up on Wednesday. David had a perspective different from others. As students, speaking with you first, you must have a perspective different from others. There might be persons around you are saying, how are you going to do this exam? You weren't in class face to face. Your internet wasn't working. You did not get to finish everything that's in the syllabus. But David didn't see what everyone else saw. Everyone else saw an invincible giant, but he saw an opportunity. Now is an opportunity that as students you have to put forth what you have learned, to shine in your area, see differently than others. His method was different from others. He was dedicated to using unproven weapons that he knew would work, not the conventional ones. Yes, he had used his slingshot and stones to kill animals before, and he knew that this would work. As students, your teachers and parents would have prepared you with tests and quizzes and mock exams. You use that method to defeat Goliath, the exam. His conviction was different from others. He recognized Goliath had no connection with God. And while he felt passionate about his commitment with God, he knew that God would bring him through. Students, it's not too young. You're not too young. Your teachers and parents should have been praying for you during this period of preparation. You too can pray as you seek to meet the giant, the exam. His motives were different from others. He heard Goliath's threats against God, the God of Israel, and knew that God could beat him. You are not the one who's going to be successful. It is God through you that will be successful, or rather you through God who will be successful as you go through. Yes, this has been an exam that started from grade 1, probably not for this cohort, but most definitely from grade 3, right? We have been doing all these tests, grade 4, grade 5, and now this is the final part. It's the final part to beat all that comes your way, and you have the resources. God is with you. David's vision, and then I have 2 more. David's vision was different from others. He wanted the people to know that God, the God he served, was the most powerful God on earth. What's your vision? Some want to be a teacher, like their miss or their sir. Some want to be a doctor. Some want to be a nurse. What is your vision? This exam is a means to fulfilling your vision in life, your mission in life, your goal in life. And so you will go and do your best, as David did. He wanted the people around him to recognize that the God he served was the greatest of all. You will want those around you to recognize that your school is the best and your school prepared you well, and so you will do your best. Your experience will be different from all others. He brought to the battlefield the past victories over lion and bear. What have your victories been as teachers, parents, as students? You must remember those as you get involved. And finally, David's attitude towards Goliath was different from others. He did not see Goliath as a big threat, but as a target too big to miss. And that's the final point that I want to make. Your exam this coming Wednesday is not a big threat. It will not be the end of your life. It's just a big target in life that you cannot miss. You can't miss it. And so there are a few days left for preparation. And this session this evening, the session of encouragement for the parents and students and also teachers, is to help you not to miss that target. There is the law of victory. When you shall have gotten that placement in that school that you so desire, well, we're all going to be online, but in that online school that you desire, then the fun of victory will be yours. David wasn't afraid of Goliath. It wasn't too big. Don't be afraid of this exam. It's not too big. You can conquer it. Just be as courageous as David was, and God will see you through. The law of victory states that you can win. If you see my background, it's a Tweety bird. I love Tweety bird. Have it on my car, have it on my keyring. I love Tweety bird. You know why I love Tweety bird? Because Tweety bird is always victorious. No matter what that cat does, Tweety bird will always be victorious. No matter how that cat troubles him, he always gets the upper hand. Whether it is with Granny or all by himself, he has always been, he's always victorious. So Tweety bird had a knack for the law of victory. What's your favorite animal? What's your favorite cartoon? Oh, we don't watch cartoons anymore. But what is your favorite thing? Who is your favorite hero? Look at them and how victorious they were. It's because of the law of victory. If you don't have one, then look at David. David mastered the law of victory. The law of victory says that we use everything around us to bring us to the point that we desire. Your point of desire is to be successful in your examination. David, the last point I made, did not see Goliath as a threat, but as a target too big to miss. Will you see this exam as a threat, or will you have it as a target that you can master? With God and your parents and your teachers who have been putting in the hours to aid you to get you to this moment in your life, you can have the law of victory in your hand. God bless you. Shall we pray? Father, we thank you for the law of victory that you gave David. We thank you, Lord, for the opportunity that we all have to be victorious. This evening, as this pep talk is scheduled for not just the students, but also their parents and the teachers as well, we ask, Lord, that it will be a step in their victory on Wednesday, not just for those who are on this platform, but for all the students across this island who will be sitting the last segment of their PEP exam. Be with the coordinators, be with the presenters this evening, we pray, in Jesus' name. And at the end, give them all victory, we ask. Amen. Amen.
Thank you so much, Pastor Longley. I mean, such powerful words, you know, the law of victory. I just love the way that you conveyed the story of David and Goliath, and it just intertwined just in the right time with this PEP exam. Parents, students, teachers, sound words, and it is all about the attitude of David towards Goliath. Thank you so much, Pastor Langley. Powerful words. Okay, good afternoon. My name is Tamara Hamlin. I am also your moderator for this afternoon, assisting Mrs. King. And I just want to give you the instruction, parents. Please keep muted and please be respectful in the chat room. For our adults, students who are also unsupervised, remember that we must show respect for all right? Okay, good. As we move on from those powerful words, you know, Pastor Langley, those words just have me. I'm just here, you know. So as we move on, I just invite our principal, Major Paul Scott, JP. Just a second, please. All right, good. Sorry about that. We have some internet disconnections. All right. So at this time, I invite Major Paul Scott JP. He is the president of the Clarendon Parish for the JTA, and he is also that dynamic principal of Maypen Primary to bring us greetings at this time. Major Paul Scott.
Thank you very much, Madam Tamara and Madam King. So, very greetings to all of you who are on this afternoon out of your very busy Sunday afternoon, as we take this opportunity just to give you a little, as we say, pep talk, so that the students, both you, the parents, and the students, and the teachers, and all the stakeholders can really feel comfortable going into this exam. One of the most difficult aspects of becoming a teacher is learning how to motivate students. Students who are not motivated will not learn effectively. They won't retain information. They won't participate, and some of them may even become disruptive. A student may be unmotivated for a variety of reasons. They may feel that they have no interest in the subject, find the methods of engagement not sufficient for them, or they might be distracted by external forces. It may even come to light that a student who appeared unmotivated actually has difficulty and is in need of special attention. While motivating students can be a difficult task, the rewards are more than worth it. The devotion led by Reverend Grant Langley, he said David and Goliath. The Goliath is like that exam, but we are going to be that David this afternoon, and we are going to become victorious. So motivated students are more excited to learn, and they will participate. Simply put, teaching a class of full motivated students is enjoyable both for teachers and the students alike. Some students may be self-motivated with a natural love for learning, but even the students who do not have this natural drive, a great teacher can make learning fun and inspire them to reach their full potential. So we find it necessary, colleagues, to ensure that as an association, as schools within the area, that we engage our parents and our students and motivate them, because that is how we are going to defeat that Goliath. And we are going to defeat that Goliath come Wednesday. And therefore, colleagues, the aim of this pep talk, as we said, is to provide self-awareness for our students around the activities that make up their lives, especially around the activities towards preparation for the external examination. So today we are not going to give you 1 + 1 = 2, but we are going to give you some information that we hope that as you relax, as you reflect, and as you prepare to conquer this giant, you will be well motivated, you will be well oiled, so that you can take on the challenges of the exam. So we expect you to learn or to get a more appreciation of how much schoolwork is optimal, as well as the various strategies that you can use to manage your schoolwork. We have a well lined out session for you today, and we are looking forward to ensuring that all the presenters who present, you will definitely learn and take something away from the session this afternoon. Feel free to ask your questions during the time of the presentation, or as the presenters will highlight, because we do have time for questions. And we're looking forward to your full participation. So in closing, going back to that devotional, it has me going as well. The law of victory. We are going to be victorious. We are not fearful. We are not going to even think of creating fear, but we are going to ensure that we do all that we can to overcome this giant Goliath examination called PEP and become very successful. God bless you, and do up for yourself a productive evening.
Our principal, the dynamic Mr. Paul Scott. Thank you so much, sir. Well said. And we move on to our other greeting. And this is another dynamic lady, powerhouse. She is Mrs. Shawnette Ball Wilson, and she is the president of the Maypen DA. Mrs. Ball Wilson?
Good afternoon. Are you hearing me?
Yes, ma'am. I'm seeing you. Lovely.
Good. Good afternoon to our presenters, teachers, parents, students, and other participants. Maypen District, in collaboration with the Clarendon Parish, welcomes you to PEP Talk 2021. I must commend the JTA Maypen DA Primary Committee, led by Mrs. Katie Stevenson King and Parish President Major Paul Scott, for this timely initiative. I do hope at the end of this workshop, you will leave feeling empowered, motivated, and with a better understanding of PEP. The devotion was just inspiring this afternoon, and I know that at the end of this workshop, you will leave feeling a bit more enthusiastic about PEP. Thank you, and have yourself a productive evening.
Thank you, Madam Ball Wilson. Thank you so much for your words of encouragement. Parents, teachers, students, I hope you're feeling relaxed by now. And as Mrs. Ball Wilson said, at the end of this session, you will feel more empowered and more relaxed to face that giant, that Goliath, called the PEP exam coming this Wednesday. Our chairperson and the moderator for this afternoon, Mrs. Katie Stevenson King. She's also the chairman of the Maypen DA. I also invite her at this moment to give greetings. Mrs. Katie Stevenson King.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hamlin. I was experiencing some technical challenges just now. I do apologize. But let me officially welcome each and every one of you, whether you are on the Zoom platform or the YouTube platform. Special welcome to our presenters who have taken the time out of their busy schedule to share with us this afternoon. Teachers, let me take this opportunity to commend you for the hard work that you have been doing, especially in this uncertain time. Parents, big up yourself. Keep up the good work, encouraging and supporting your children during this teaching and learning process. Students, I know that it is hard for you. I too have children at home, and I am experiencing this firsthand. But I encourage you to hold on and continue to do your best. As my principal always said to me, Mrs. King, you've got this. I'm telling you now, boys and girls, you've got this. All right, so as we move on, now I'm going to invite students from the Maypen Primary School to do an item for us. Wow, well done, students of the Maypen Primary School. There you have it, confirmation that don't worry about a thing, everything is going to be all right. And you have a chance of getting exactly what you want. Just prepare yourself and you've got this. Get up, stand up for your rights, students, teachers, colleagues, and you will get exactly what you desire. At this time, I'm going to invite my co-moderator, Mr. Tamara Hamlin, to continue.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. I just want to let everyone know that I am so enjoying the vibes this afternoon. You know, I heard about the story of Goliath, and now I'm hearing that I must stand up. Don't worry about a thing, because everything is gonna be all right. You know, I'm just feeling so empowered, and I'm not the one who's doing PEP this Wednesday. But I'm sure you are feeling empowered to parents and students. If you are, you can feel free to type in the chat. I'm so loving it this afternoon. The pleasure is mine this afternoon. I have a very lovely lady that I am to introduce to you, and she is going to give us an overview of PEP. Now, this lady, she is self-initiated individual who lived by the philosophy to get what you want out of life is to help others get what they want out of life. And that is so true, because once we are happy, then everyone around you is happy. She pursued her studies in the field of education at Church Teachers College, where she specialized in mathematics education, something that I have always been afraid of all my life, but here you have a dynamic mathematical teacher. Her further studies at the University of the West Indies, Mona, earned her second degree also in mathematics. So you know that she has a passion, that deep love for mathematics. As she went on, because of her love and her passion, she went on to pursue other courses in other universities, and you know in which field? Mathematics. She is such an outstanding performer, an outstanding educator when it comes down to mathematics. And because of that, she was recognized for that wonderful job she's doing, especially in the primary level. And so she has won many awards. She won the Ken Gray Award for Innovation. Wow. The US School of Education Award for Outstanding Academic Excellence. Wow. As well as other outstanding awards for performance in mathematics and physical education. So you know she's no lazy body, she's up and running. Because of her philosophy in life, this lady focuses on the things which are important and not necessarily those which are urgent. And because of that, she's with us this afternoon because she knows that it is important for us. She currently works as an education officer outside of Mapen Region Office, which is Region 7, in the Ministry of Youth Education. In the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. And you know, it does not stop there, because this lady knows the knowledge that she has, and because she wants the children of Jamaica to pursue what she has done and beyond. And so she continues to extend her knowledge, and she works also with the Jamaica University College. She's a teacher and a mathematics specialist. She's a mathematics coordinator. And you know, this lady is married with 2 children. Oh, yes. And she will tell us more on why PEP is so important to us, boys and girls, and why we know that we are going to defeat this Goliath. She is none other than Mrs. Ranger Cohen, Miss Raquel Ranger Cohen. Please put your hands together and help me welcome Mrs. Ranger Cohen this afternoon.
Thank you so much, Miss Hamlin. What a warm welcome. Boy, I tell you, I started sweating when I heard all of that and how you delivered. Trust me, I can see that you are a true teacher. So let me just quickly acknowledge Lady Hamlin, who would have just introduced me, and Mrs. Stevenson King, the moderators for today's proceedings. I can't escape, or I couldn't afford to escape the opportunity or not grab the opportunity in acknowledging just how touched I was when Sir Grant Langley gave us the devotions. Fellow colleague officers who are on the platform, Captain Paul Scott, Principal of Mapen Primary and also President for the parish of Clarendon, Miss Shernette Ball Wilson, or Mrs. rather, President of the Maypen District Association, other specially invited guests and presenters, principals on the platform, or teachers, or parents and or guardians, and most importantly, the reason why we're here this afternoon, our students. A pleasant afternoon to you all. Certainly, it is an honor, it is a privilege to be here with you participating in this exercise. So let me, on behalf of the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, and in particular Region 7, headed by our regional director, just pause to acknowledge and to celebrate our future, our children during this month celebrated as Child Month. The Ministry of Education, Youth and Information for this year celebrates Child Month under the theme, I SOAR. I SOAR, an acronym which represents I strive to overcome adversities with resilience. So whether you're a child this afternoon or you're a child at heart, just remember that the task ahead of you is never as great as the power behind you. I would like to also use the opportunity to extend sincere appreciation to the team who envisioned this initiative and who would have worked assiduously in making that vision a reality, especially during these times of uncertainties. So thank you, especially to our teachers or principals or parents or guardians, and to all the stakeholders for their efforts. So the task is mine to give a brief overview on this thing called PEP. PEP. I don't know why it is being likened to a Goliath. I really don't think it is. I think I rather viewing PEP as that target that we really cannot afford to miss. And trust me, boys and girls, you will not miss. You will do well. So as we know, the Ministry of Education is the body responsible for educating our nation. After the implementation of any program, and I refer in particular to the curriculum, the National Standards Curriculum, our ministry has to measure your level of accomplishment. Now, bear in mind that our curricula designed and the methods of assessment used are done at international standards. And certainly you can attest to the fact as to why it is our students do so well when they go overseas. Now, over time, we would have realized that things have changed. We're actually preparing students for jobs which have not been created as yet. And if it is we're preparing students for the 21st century, then certainly the how of doing things will change. So consequently, or as a result, boys and girls, the National Standards Curriculum was designed to replace what we call then the revised primary curriculum. And it has a focus on the 21st century skills. And I am sure that you would have heard your teachers over and over speak to the skills that you must develop. The skill of creativity, because we do know that you have the creativity within you. And so we want to pull out on that creativity. We want for you to be able to communicate. So at times we find that while you possess the skill, while you possess the talent, you do not necessarily know how to communicate such skills. And sometimes things just pass you by. So we emphasize the whole matter of communication, communicating your understanding as to the various things that you are exposed to. The idea of collaboration is also critical. Within this world, there is nothing that you can do by yourself. I am sure you would have heard the phrase, no man is an island, no man stands alone. And as you're prepared to go out there into the world of work, whether you're going to work in an organization, whether you're going to be an entrepreneur, you need to possess the skills of collaboration. because you certainly do need the assistance of from one person or another. Last but by no means least is that of critical thinking. Yes, we know that you are critical thinkers, and as such, we have to provide the way for you to show us that you can indeed think critically. And so these are the 21st century skills that the National Standards Curriculum focus on. In other words, the curriculum focuses on concepts, on skills, and on your competencies. Now, the National Assessment Program, so I would have heard Pastor speaking to the various tests or assessment activities that you do from grade 1, and yes, Pastor, it is from grade 1, and then you do something else at grade 3, and then it rolls over into, grade 4, grade 5, and grade 6. So the National Assessment Program has been revised. Unlike what I did in my days way back then, and from you look at me, boys and girls, you know that it's from way back then. I would have done something called the common entrance. Your teachers who are not so from way back would have done GSAT, and I'm sure you would have heard of GSAT, right? These examinations, they give the results after one sitting. So in my days, you could have not passed, as we would have termed it then, common entrance. But when you do and are successful, you get the results for that one sitting. Unlike GSAT and the common entrance, PEP, or the primary exit profile, creates an opportunity to provide a detailed academic report starting from grade 4. And hence, the academic profile captures information about the progress you would have made at grades 4, grade 5, and grade 6. And you're aware of the different components. So you have the performance task, and this is basically a task designed within the core areas. At grade 4, it's designed to reflect the math and the English component of the curriculum. At grade 5, the math, the English, the science, and the social studies. And at grade 6, the math and the English only. And that would take care of your performance task. So you get the task, it's open-ended, meaning you are allowed to apply whatever knowledge, whatever skill you would have garnered, you would have learned, to show how it is you would actually solve this task. Then you have the curriculum-based test, and this is administered at grade 6. Now, the curriculum-based test, as teacher would have told you, maybe I'm not so sure, because this year has been a very tricky one, but you perhaps would have heard coming up from grades 4 and 5, that this curriculum-based test is designed with different item types. So you will have some multiple choice, you will have some short answer questions, etc. And the curriculum-based test, as I would have indicated, is done, and it would have been designed using the grade 6 component of the curriculum only. And then the ability test, which is only assessed at the grade 6 level. Now, this is not designed to test any specific section of the curriculum. It requires that you show how you use what you have learned. It focuses on what we call your reasoning ability, or what we see as your natural way of thinking. So that is what the ability test requires of you. So you would have been in school, perhaps from ever since you remember, boys and girls. Mommy has pushed us out from so early, perhaps from 2 or 3, worst if mommy is a teacher, or you have an educator guardian, they perhaps will be pulling you along from you, or even 1+. So all that you would have accomplished throughout all those years are what will be tested, or what will be assessed when you do the ability test. Now, what has COVID done to us, boys and girls? Now, a lot has changed, and we exist in what we call unprecedented times. You perhaps would have heard that expression before, meaning times which we have never seen before, and we're praying that these are times which we will never see again. And certainly the Ministry of Education has not escaped the wrath of COVID. I would have heard on different social media platforms, on the news, of the various organizations that would have been hit. But would you believe me if I tell you that the Ministry of Education, I believe, has been hardest hit? And you know how it is, you have been affected in an adverse way, in a not so nice way. While it is that the government may open the ports and tourists just come on in, and the tourism sector just gets up in the morning and picks up, we know that not so it is with education. But the ministry stands relentless in doing whatever it takes to ensure that our boys and our girls get a fair chance in this life. So this year, one component will be assessed, and that will be the ability test. And I think you're very, very fortunate. See it as a blessing, not so much as something unfortunate. So for this year, only the ability test component will be assessed. Now, the ability test component, along with your 2019 grade 4 tasks results, will be used for the placement of our students at the secondary level. All right, bearing in mind that the tests that you would have done in 2019 are standardized, meaning everybody would have done the same test. You would have sat it under the same stipulations, the same guidelines, the same rules, and as such, those results are what we call reliable. We can depend on them. And as such, the ability test results that you will get, along with your grade 4 tasks results, will be combined, and that will be used as a placement mechanism for you to your secondary level educational institution. So when the results come, you will not get what the previous students would have received, called a profile of how well you would have mastered the national standards curriculum. This will only be used for placement. Let me hasten to say, though, boys and girls, that the ministry, again, as it prepares you to go out there and to go to your next level of education, has designed some diagnostic assessment activities that you will be asked to do, so that the schools will be able to get some kind of data, so that they can understand your mastery level of the national standards curriculum. All right, so it's just a diagnostic assessment, and you will be doing that later on in June. All right, now the ability test, you would have been exposed to a wide range of activity types. All right, what it does, it actually assesses your, what we call your aptitude, your knack, your mastery of different areas of numeracy, verbal and non-verbal abilities, as well as your abstract thinking abilities. So remember, I would have indicated earlier on that it doesn't necessarily test any specific objective from the curriculum, but it looks at how it is you would have mastered and you would have used all the objectives that you would have been exposed to solve real life situations, to solve situations that you may very well find yourself into, and to make decisions. It assesses how you apply what you have learned over time as it relates to your reasoning skills, or what we call your natural way of thinking. So the ability test, it explores what we deem as your verbal reasoning skills. So in other words, if it is you come upon a group of terms or a set of terms, are you able to look at the different terms, think about what it is they each refer to, and come up with a classification? Could you be able to identify a term which describes all of the others? It also looks at analogy. How am I able to compare one thing to another and come up with my own generalization? The ability test also look at what we call quantitative reasoning. And as you hear quantitative, boys and girls, I know your mind goes straight to quantity, which speaks math. And yes, I cannot not grab the opportunity to say that I believe, please teachers, mommies and daddies, but I do believe that math is the best subject. And children, if you agree with me, just put it in the chat, because we know that math is the best subject. There is just a right or a wrong answer to math. All right, good. So we have the quantitative reasoning component. So you may be given a set of numbers to look at the pattern, to see what pattern are they utilizing to come up with what we call some generalization, or what is the rule that they're using here, so that you may determine what it is your next term would be, or how it is that this particular number or quantity defines everything else that is there. It also speaks to your spatial reasoning skills. Does this belong? How does this one go outside of the others? So it pushes your spatial reasoning skills. So boys and girls, there is actually nothing to fear when it comes on to the ability test. With the support of your teachers, with the virtual PEP camp that the ministry would have designed, with PEP mini marathons, with the plethora, the whole heap of books that are there on the market. We also have interactive books. So because we're in the virtual, we're mainly being dealt with on a virtual basis. We have also books which are soft, and you can flip a page and work in that virtual book. There's so many things that are there to your advantage. So I am just going to implore you that as you go out there on Wednesday, you just go and be that little David, because you're going to see this ability test as a target that you cannot afford to miss. You would have already been exposed to your timetables. And as such, I'm just going to implore you that you go early. I'm going to be asking our parents too. I know, yes, because my daughter is doing it, I am feeling the pressure, and sometimes I put on the pressure, but just try to relax. Sometimes when you speak to the parents, it's as though they're the ones doing the exam, but just try to relax and have your children relax. And trust me, as the song that Mapen Primary would have presented, you're not to worry. Don't worry about anything, because every little thing is going to be all right. So stay relaxed, do your best. Most importantly, stay safe. And remember, irrespective of where you are placed, just bloom where you are planted. Have a wonderful rest of evening.
My. Mrs. Kawada could sit and listen to you all afternoon, but you know we can't. I was just looking at the chat while you were talking, ma'am, and I'm saying the amount of persons, parents, who were agreeing with what you were saying. Every word, letter, sentence, phrase is true. I just wanted to answer this question here. A parent asks, just a minute, let me just go back to it. Yes, a person was asking what percentage does the grade 4 test that that the students did contribute to their PEP results.
All right, so Lady Hamlin, through you to the parent, just bear in mind that our psychometricians would have actually worked out how it is they're going to be weighting the different components. So while I know that you are concerned, but as I would have indicated, it is reliable. And when you get the results, you will actually see in terms of the percentage. My humblest of apologies. I'm not sure I was muted. Right. So I would have indicated that the psychometricians would have actually looked at that. I know that is a concern of our parents, and they would have worked out the best formula. So I'm just going to encourage you to trust the process. Everybody will be fairly treated. But at this point, I am not able to say what percentage really, but our psychometricians have dealt with that, and nobody will be disadvantaged. We guarantee that.
Lady Hamlin, please unmute.
Yes?
You are muted.
I am. I don't know what's happening.
You're good now, Tamara. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you so much. Mrs. Cohen, parents in the chat was saying maths is the best. And someone said you are a fantastic mathematics teacher. She left?
I am still here, Lady Hamlin.
Okay.
I'm still here. And yes. I concur with the fact that math is the best. I saw somebody saying language, but we will talk afterwards. All right. I know we have to go because you're watching the time. Right. We'll talk afterwards.
Yes, ma'am. So the MAPEN DA, sincerely, thank you so much, Mrs. Cohen, for answering the call to be with us this afternoon. You know, they say Sunday is family time, but the mom and the teacher in you could not resist such a call. So we thank you so much.
It was a pleasure.
All right, Mrs. Stevenson King. Oh, before Mrs. Stevenson King comes.
Come on, I'm here. Just give me 1 minute. I understand that Mr. Errol Horton has joined us. Mr. Horton is an education officer at the Ministry of Education, Region 7. Welcome, sir, and we do appreciate your presence this afternoon with us. Back to you, Miss Hamlin.
Yes, not yet. Mrs. Mears, she is a teacher at MAPEN Primary School. And I'm sure that Mrs. Mears' heart is just smiling right now. Is that true, Mrs. Mears?
Yes, it is.
Wonderful. And with that smile in your heart, I'm going to ask you to present our first speaker for this afternoon.
Thank you, Ms. Hamlin. Good afternoon, colleagues. The privilege is mine to introduce our speaker, who will address our emotional readiness this afternoon. Our speaker is a passionate educator who strives to empower people to be better and to reach their full potential. He is guided by Matthew 20:20-28, which basically states, and I quote, "I don't come to be served, but to serve," end quote. With this in mind, he considers himself a servant leader who loves to serve others as Christ served his church. As a justice of the peace, he has been serving his country in this capacity since 2015. He graduated from Jamaica University College in 2013 and worked as a guidance counselor at New Providence Primary School and St. Hugh's High School. He spent 5 years at Lessons Primary School as the senior guidance counselor and was promoted on secondment to acting principal. Michael Jordan said it beautifully, and I quote, "Some people want it to happen, some wish it would happen, others make it happen." Our speaker this afternoon is the latter, as he is currently the principal of Wanda Bolas Primary School in St. Catherine. Parents, guardians, boys and girls, colleagues all, please help me welcome Mr. Mario Sams, Justice of the Peace, School Principal, and a man of God. Mr. Sams.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. And I must say that I am deeply honored to be present here with you and to share with you the students. The students are my passion, my heartbeat. I love to, once I'm on the stage to present to my students, I get so excited. And I want to thank you all for the invitation. Major Paul Scott and his team, thank you for this kind invitation, and the privilege is mine to share with you about the emotional readiness of the primary exit profile for the grade 6 students. And so it is certainly, as Madam EO said, that it is certainly a time, it's unprecedented. We are living in an unprecedented times. And so with that being said, then the anxiety, the nervousness, the overwhelming feeling that us as teachers go through, because we are thrust in an area, in a situation that we have to execute our duty to ensure that the students are taught and to ensure that they are empowered through the virtual space. And if we are so stressed sometimes, I must admit, can you imagine going through? But certainly, without a shadow of a doubt, with occasions like these, a seminar of this nature, I am hoping that it will bring a sense of calmness. It brings a sense of confidence and a sense of hope in these times of uncertainty, that the anxiety and emotions will be stabilized. And I trust and hope that all the parents, everybody here present, teachers, colleagues, friends, all will be beneficial in this presentation. And I promise you that I won't be long, because it's a Sunday, I'm about to say Sunday school. It's a Sunday evening family time, and I just want to be short and very precise. And students, I want your full participation. Those students who are listening, I crave your full participation, because I'm going to be expecting you to respond to me, because I want to hear from you. And that hearing from you will help me to negotiate or to navigate in this presentation. Now, my task is to talk to us about the emotional readiness of this presentation. First of all, I want to ask the question, what is emotional readiness? What is it? What comes to mind when we talk about emotional readiness? Any bright child would want to answer that question. Any bright child? Anybody? Any bright child? You may mute your mic if you want to, or Jordan, right, very good. Jordan, you may unmute and speak. What is emotional intelligence? What's the first thing that comes to your mind? Emotional readiness. Yes, Jordan.
I would say emotional readiness mean you are ready inside of your heart.
You're ready inside of you. You are ready to conquer anything. I like the fact that you use the heart. Once the heart, and guess what? Once the heart is ready, it therefore means that the mind is also ready, which is very important. The mind plays an important part to the heart, because once the mind is positive, which I'm going to be speaking later in the presentation, then it can transfer into the heart, and the heart has to be there. Yes, because it doesn't make sense that if the heart is not ready, then the mind will be all over the place. Yes. And so thank you, Jordan, for that response. So it is the understanding of your own strengths and the weaknesses, and taking care of your own well-being. It is the understanding of your own strengths and weaknesses, and to taking care of your well-being. Yes, students, you have strengths, you have weaknesses. And so some of these weaknesses that may come, for example, feeling nervous, those sort of things, they're only natural. All of us, we all have weaknesses. But it's how do we deal with these weaknesses? How do we deal with them? Do we allow them to overcome us and to cause us to give up? Now, before I go any further, I'm going to be showing you something on YouTube that I want you to look at the various emotions, right? The various emotions, I want us to look at them. And before you respond, I want you to observe the different feelings. And based on those feelings, I am going to be asking some questions. So pay attention to this short video about the various emotions.
Are you happy? Are you confused? Are you bored? Are you mad? Are you surprised? Are you shy? Are you loved? Are you sad? Yes, I'm happy. I'm confused. I am bored. I am mad. I'm surprised. Shapes us our way. I'm content, I'm unsure, I'm disgusted, I am
Okay. Did you enjoy that presentation? Anybody hearing me?
We're
All
hearing
right.
it, sir. All mics are muted.
Excellent. Was just wondering. Okay. Now, students, after listening to that video and to watch that video, PEP, you know that PEP is on Wednesday. Yes? PEP is on Wednesday. I want somebody to tell me, probably three persons, to tell me, how do you feel about this PEP that is coming on Wednesday? Or what are you feeling now? Today's Sunday, you know, you're thinking about PEP coming up on Wednesday. How do you feel at this moment? Three persons, please tell me. Amelia Sawyers, you're first. How are you feeling? What are your thoughts about the PEP coming up?
Nervous.
You're feeling nervous. Okay, do you know why you're feeling nervous? Why do you feel nervous, Amalia?
Because I want to do my best.
Pardon?
Because I want to do my best.
You're feeling nervous because you want to do your best. Amelia, I hope I get your name correctly pronounced. Feeling nervous is natural. It's okay to feel nervous, okay? And so what that feeling is quite normal, okay? And I know because you, as you say, you want to do well. And because you want to do well, you want to ensure that you are doing your best. Yes? Yes. And remember, as my brother spoke about David and the Goliath, and my EO colleague said that she doesn't want you to look at it as a Goliath, but just to look at it as just an exam. Nothing to fear, all right? And it's okay to feel nervous. But I will talk about how to deal with that. Okay, next person. I see Rihanna Thomas. Yes, Rihanna Thomas. Tell me, how do you feel about the exam? Pardon? Yes, Rihanna, go ahead.
Excited.
You feel excited. Okay. All right. Tell me, why do you feel excited about this exam? Yes. Tell us why. Why do you feel excited, Rihanna? We have lost Rihanna there. Okay. All right. Let me see one more person. I'm going to take a male. Is there a male whose hand is up? A male. I want a male to talk to me. Boys usually, sometimes some boys don't like to talk about emotions. But my boys, I want you to talk to me. Yes. How do you feel about this exam? How do you feel at this moment? Jordan? Yes, Jordan, tell us how do you feel?
So I feel kind of excited.
Boy, Jordan.
The reason I feel nervous because when you reach deep into the exam, there are going to be some challenging questions.
Okay, Jordan, I'm going to ask you to say that once more. I don't know if it's my internet or it's your connection. I heard slurs. I didn't hear a word, and I'm sure the others are experiencing the same thing. Could you repeat what you just said?
Sir, I feel half nervous and half excited.
Okay. So you're having a mixture of feelings. You're feeling half nervous and you're feeling half excited. Okay. So I want to hear the positive. I want to hear the excitement part. Why do you feel excited?
Sir, because I've been studying and going through a lot of papers.
You have been
Studying and going through a lot of papers.
okay, excellent, very good, very good. Been studying and going through a lot of past papers, very good. All right. Why do you feel nervous?
Because when you reach deeply into that PEP, you're going to find some challenging questions.
Ah, very good, Jordan. Jordan is saying that going into that PEP, he may see some challenge or feel some challenges. Yes, Jordan, anything that you face, you're going to feel challenged and so forth. And I want to say that these are normal. Students, all these emotions that you're experiencing, they are normal. Okay? Don't feel odd or feel something that somebody here mentioned. Anything that you're feeling, it is quite normal. All right? Now, first of all, going into that exam on Wednesday, right? Four things I want to share with you. One, be confident. In everything that you do, be confident. Always be confident in yourself. And one of the ways in which you can be confident is to face your fear. Yes, you may be feeling fearful. Yes, you may be feeling nervous, right? As some of you have expressed thus far. You may feel nervous. You may feel like you are not sure what is going to happen. And I'm sure none of us would have thought COVID-19 or this pandemic would have caused us to be out of school for over a year. No, I'm sure that when you're in grade 1, you never nobody thought about this. And so, because you are learning in a different way through the virtual space, you may feel a bit fearful and so, oh my God, did I really learn anything, and so on and so forth. But in everything, I want you to be confident in yourself, knowing that if you have attending class every day that was scheduled for you with your school, being present early, yes, and studying. Yes, I hear somebody say that they have been studying. Yes, once you have studied, yes, and I don't want you to mix memory and facts. No, don't mix memory and facts, because if you mix the memory and facts, you're going to run yourself into problems. When I say mix, don't mix memory and facts, because some students love when they're studying, they're trying to memorize what they're studying. But always remember the facts. Knowing your content is very important. Knowing your content is very important, and that's one of the ways that will help you to be confident in yourself, right? And also look at the story that was shared earlier, David and Goliath. David, how he became confident. He became confident because he trusted in God. Knowing that God will help you, believing God, that will help you. And remember, if you don't study and practice, God can't help you, right? But when you practice and you study, you will be confident, ensuring that you are confident in yourself, telling yourself positive things. Or when you tell yourself that I can do it, and when although you have been at home, learning from home, when you go into the space where the exam rooms is going to be at your school, you still can be confident no matter what. Be confident. You're just going to be in a different space, but your duty is to ensure that you do your best, and want to know that only the best is good enough. The second thing I want you to do is to be positive. Very important. Self-doubt When you doubt yourself and in problems, always be positive. Be positive in your thoughts, positive in your actions, positive in every aspect of your being. And parents, it's also important to encourage your children. This will help them to boost their positivity. This will help them to boost their self-esteem. Although you may observe them, parents. Observe how they look, how they are behaving towards the online teacher and learner. Observe them as they anticipate doing the PEP. And I know, parents, it's not easy either for you. But tell yourself that, yes, my child can, that your child can do it. Then that message can be conveyed to them, and hug them too. And if they're feeling nervous, just encourage them that all is well. As Bob Marley's children, those did the selection so beautiful. Every little thing will be all right. Don't worry about anything. It's just an exam, right? Always face your fears by being positive. Face your fears by being positive. In doing so, the third thing I want to encourage you is to be calm, students. It's very important to be calm in light of the uncertainties, in light of what you don't know what is going to happen on Wednesday morning, in light of all the things at home. Some homes can be very confusing. Some homes can be very overwhelmed. But in all of this, boys and girls, be calm. The songwriter said, when peace like a river tendeth my way. If those of you go to church and know that wonderful hymn, be calm. And when doing so, just think about a nice, loving stream flowing down the stream. You know, that water that got flowing so gently along the stream. And just think about the beautiful things and relax yourself. Take deep breaths. If you're feeling nervous and you're feeling anxious, and some people may have sweaty palms and so on and so forth, just close your eyes. Close your eyes. Take a moment, take a minute, and say, I can do it. This is me, I can do it. And just calm down and count to 10. You don't even have to say anything either. Just sit there in silence and to connect with your being and say that, yes, I can do it. Another thing to help you to be calm is to listen to inspirational music. Yes, I love to listen to inspirational music, especially when I get antsy, when I need to do things. Inspirational music, music that is positive and uplifting. Always practice to do so. You can do that, students, to help with your calmness. You know, parents, having a conversation today, I was sharing with my former education officer of mine, I was telling her how nervous I was. And in order for me to be calm, is to talk with her and to just share a little joke. And my God, the joke was so sweet. I can't share it with you, but the joke was so sweet that it helped me to be calm and to prepare myself mentally. So students, you can do things like that. Parents, talk to your children, help them with the process. As they, look at them, you talk them through the process. This will help them to be calm. And finally, students, I want you to be prayerful. Be prayerful. Very important. If you are God-minded parents, those of you who are Christians, yes, who are God-minded, yes, who believe in God, yes, prayer can be the order of the day. In all the storms of life that may arise, prayer for your children. Yes, pray over your children. Children, learn to pray. Yes, God is there with you. Yes, when you feel doubtful, just pray to God. When you feel nervous, just pray to God. When you feel excited, yes, and excited about the PEP and so on being, and you feel anxious, just whisper a prayer to God and say, God, this is you and I know, you know. I am in this to know with you. And God, I want you to help me. You know, as the scripture reminds us, with God, all things are possible. Students, you can do it. You will do well. Tell yourself that I can do well. Tell yourself that you are a winner. Tell yourself that you will be the best thing ever. Tell yourself that you are a big deal. Yes. And I know that as you tell yourself these things and you pray, because we know that prayer changes everything, you know that you all will be well. And so, students, as I close this short presentation, I want you to remember to be confident. Also, be positive, be calm, relax, and be prayerful. And as I close, I want to close with this song, I'm a Winner, as you go forth to do your exam on Wednesday. So give me a minute here. Let me search for this song by Agent Sasso.
Hey, upset her. See how upset her. Score outside there. On and on and on and on. I'm a winner. You know the dance. I'm a winner. I want to know. I'm on the sun. Oh, we're winning right now. You're winning. Say we're winning right now. Me forget a trophy to what me living right now. Cause I'm winning right now, yeah. And I'm chilling right now. Oh, we're winning right now. Our Thanksgiving right now. Cause we're winning right now, yeah. I'm winning. I'm winning. W, learn from the L's, turn them in a medallion and don't for your bells. Every day you see we with the pan on next level. Break records like we cracking eggshells, and every single ounce of effort we expel. It's all about progress, cause we have to excel. I watch them, looking like success, we dress well. Another knockout for the ring, the next spell. I'm about to send my haters a card to get well, cause I'm sick of it. I'm so sick of it, but that's the whole gist of it. I hate in the beauty when winning now we have it, cause I'm winning. I'm winning. I'm winning. Oh, yeah. Oh, we're winning right now, you're winning. Say we're winning right now. Me forget a trophy to what me living right now. Cause I'm winning right now, yeah. And I'm chilling right now. Oh, we're winning right now. Our Thanksgiving right now, yeah. I say we're winning right now. So every day you see we are the reigning champ. And at the cloud with the silver line we reigning from. Cause if you see some of the places where we're hailing from, it's just the type of place we should be failing from. But now we're winning. Yes, every quarter, every inning. Bolt if I tracks and then I fence if I swimming. You know that there's no giving in no matter the circumstances we're living in, you hear me? I'm winning. I'm winning. I'm winning. Oh, yeah. Right now, you I say we're winning right now. We get a trophy to what me living right now. Cause I'm winning right now, yeah. And I'm chilling right now. Oh, we're winning right now. Our Thanksgiving right now, God. I said we're winning right now.
Okay, boys and girls, always remember that you are a winner. Always remember to be confident. Always remember to be calm. Always remember to be positive. And always remember to be prayerful. Students, I trust and hope that your minds will be renewed after hearing this presentation and that you are ready to do this exam. And to remember that this exam is just a bridge you are going to cross over to the next life that you're going to venturing in. So give it your best shot. Only the good is your best is good enough. Thank you so much.
All right, sir, before we go, there are no questions in the chat, but I'd just like to share for those on YouTube some of the comments that we're having. Claudine Mitchell says, thanks, sir. I will use these words and music to encourage my students that are on the platform. Tamara Hamlin said, solid words. Rihanna Cohen, she's ready. Jardine says, yes, thank you. Thomas says, prayer changes everything. Galaxy A11, I am a winner. Rohim is agreeing with you that prayer does work. Everything we should give thanks. I like this comment from Shanticia Moore. God never gives us nothing that we can't bear. I believe in God. All right, if there are no questions, or if you have questions, you're able to raise your hands now. Ms. Hamlin, we give what, 2 questions? 2 persons the opportunity to ask a question.
Yes, ma'am, 2, because we're working with time.
All right, so the first 2 persons who raise their hands, if you have questions, you're able to go ahead. We have Jardine. Go ahead, Jardine.
Miss, since the PEP is Wednesday and I'm on a shift that is going Tuesday and Thursday, am I going to do the PEP Thursday?
All right, Jardine, we'll get back that answer to you. There is a question in the chat. So he's at Galaxy A11 is asking, Miss, what can you tell some of the children that are feeling down to motivate them? Mr. Sams?
Yes, okay. The question was, what is that?
The question is, what could you tell some students who are feeling out of it and needs motivation?
Okay, thank you for that question. As I said before, always say positive words, encourage them, saying positive words to reassure them, because students need reassurance, children need reassurance. And sometimes when they feel these emotions, they're not able to express the way us as adults. That's why it's important with them so that they can process whatever they're feeling. And so if they're saying that I can't, for example, they say that they can't do it, you can turn that statement into a positive one to say that you can do it, and to just continue to be positive with them as well.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Sams. Awesome presentation. It was indeed clear and precise. So on behalf of the entire both on Zoom and on YouTube, by extension, the Clarendon Parish, we are saying thank you for taking the time out to share this afternoon with us. We appreciate the tips that you have left with us. Your presentation, I believe, sir, was inspiring and will definitely be beneficial, not just for this topic, but for future. So we
Thank you so much. The honor was mine, and thank you for the invitation. It's been a pleasure.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you very much again, Mr. Sams. Short but spicy. I love the energy and I love the participation, especially those from the children. It shows that they are engaged and involved in what we're doing here this afternoon. All right. I can tell you that we are winning right now. It's not just the children. I think that all of us are winning right now because parents, teachers, our fellow colleagues, all of us are putting in what we can do to help our children prepare for this exam. Thank you very much again, Mr. Sam. At this time, I'm going to invite Miss Vasiniana, I hope I get it right, Miss Vasiniana Barnes to invite our second presenter. Miss Barnes, are you there?
Okay, are you hearing me now?
Okay, yes, we can.
Good afternoon, and it is Vastiana Barnes. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for that correction.
And it is Mrs.
It's Miss, it's Mr. Good afternoon, everyone. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our next speaker. He hails from the parish of Clarendon. He was born in Shackleton and raised in Maypen. He was educated at Garba High School and later on at the Michael University College. He is a past teacher of Spanish Town High School. While there, he wore many hats. He taught geography, history, and social studies. He was also the head coach of the school's challenge quiz team. He was an advisor and a board member where he sat in the capacity of academic staff rep. Currently, he teaches geography at Premier High School and the president of the Maypen Primary PTA. He is very involved in his community and happily married with 2 children. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I now present to you Mr. Donovan Rattray. Mr. Rattray.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay. All right, good afternoon, everyone.
Mr. Rattray got bumped off.
Okay, can you hear me now? I don't know, something happened a while ago.
Go ahead.
Okay, right. Yes, good evening, everyone. Special invited guests, including my former hall warden, Mr. Errol Houghton, now EO of Region 7. I'd like to also take the time out to say hello to Mr., or should I say Major Scott, and the parents, my fellow members of the PTA, all the teachers and students of the Maypen Primary School, and also my fellow presenters. A pleasant good afternoon to each and every one of you. It is my pleasure to be here. I'm honored to be invited to give a presentation on parents' involvement in the preparation for PEP. So I'm going to go right ahead now and present my screen. So let me know if you're able to see my screen. All right. Are you seeing my screen? Can you see what's on my screen at the moment, everyone?
Yes, we are.
Okay, very good. Now, PEP is one of those exams that students have to naturally take in order to matriculate to another level. And it is basically the latest in a string of exams that we have had over the years that we have to move on from primary education all the way to secondary education. Very often, parents, don't view their participation in the students' preparation for the next level as greatly as that they place on the teachers and the students themselves. But the thing is, teachers spend very little time in a 24-hour day span to prepare students over a 9-month period for this particular occasion. But the parents spend a vast majority of the day with their students. And therefore, the onus is on parents to meet the teachers halfway in helping to prepare the students for their exams by doing things that would benefit the students. So this presentation will allow you parents to see what you can do to prepare your child for the exam that is to come on Wednesday. And some of them you probably have done already, some you have not, but nonetheless, we're just gonna go right into it and to show you how important a role you play as a parent in getting your student ready for that next level. Quite a number of the things have been said by our presenter, Mr. Sams, and they'll be reiterated in my presentation. There are basically several ways that you, the parent, can actually prepare your child for the exam. The most important, or the first one, is to make sure you get all the information on PEP as possible. Get all the information on PEP. How do we get them? Some of you have already started that process over a particular period of time. But you basically can get all the information you need on PEP by going on the web. There's actually a website, a PEP website by the Ministry of Education that you, the parent, can go to and get all the resources you need, all the perfect information you need to prepare your child for the exams. You're gonna get past paper questions, sample questions, updates, bulletins, and other resource materials, even an area that is there that you can actually post your queries. Another source of valuable information about the PEP exam is the child's teacher themselves. You can establish contact with the teacher, especially in this time of COVID-19, through various platforms online, like WhatsApp, or even have a Zoom conference with the teachers. And the teachers will give you all the information you need to know about the exam itself as well. Here is the website for the PEP exam, for the PEP, for PEP that the Ministry of Education had established, pep.moey.gov.jm/. That is the website for PEP. So make sure that you, if you have not visited that website as yet, now is your chance to visit that website. It is, remember, it is pep.moey.gov.jm. All right, that is the website. And you get all the information you need on PEP at this website. It's it's very organized, and it's user friendly, so you shouldn't have any problem when you go on that website. If you have not done that yet, this is your chance. So we already established that you can visit the child's, pay a visit to the child's teacher, basically to let the teacher tell you what are your child's weaknesses and strengths, and you can actually assess these weaknesses and strengths of your child and tackle them prior to the exam, so that you are able to properly equip your child for the exam coming up. As I said earlier, establish communication with your child's teacher through the different platforms online. You know, like you have your Zoom, your WhatsApp, you may have Skype, whatever the connection is, because you see, the thing about it is that teachers are on the ground, so they can give you realistic, real life information about your child. Again, go on the website and find practice papers. That's the beauty of the website, of the PEP website. You're able to go on that website and find practice papers that you can give to your child, so you can see how the exam is structured. You can see how what kind of questions they're asking, at what level they're asking these questions, what the expectations are of the students through these questions, how it is formatted. So you're able to get your child focused and ready for the exam in this way. I've heard some students said already they have been dealing with past papers, which is very good. So you have already you know, beat me to the punch on this one. So kudos to you all. If you have not done so as yet, it is not too late as well. If you're feeling the stress of a parent and you don't think you're quite suitable to take this thing, to take the hands-on initiative of working with your child one-on-one for the exam, it is wise that you get someone, you know, like a tutor to help you, especially in these final days. It doesn't have to be a teacher. It could even be a student who have already done the exam and would be able to help your child get your child ready for the exam also. Feel free to go on websites. I know for a fact if you go on Facebook, you may see teachers from other schools, you know, offering their services, some free, some a minor cost, to help tutor your child in PEP. And so you can, you know, go ahead and go in your Facebook page and see if you can find anybody who's offering such a service, because they are all online. So another way by which you can actually prepare your child for the exam is to study with your child. Sit with them, study with them. That will help them to actually feel motivated to study. That will help them feel motivated to want to tackle their challenged areas that, you know, they have been having a problem with for the time being. While you are doing this, do not use the chance to be harsh with them. Remember, they're going through a learning process, and therefore they would really crave your understanding during this process. So you have to be patient with them. You have to be helping them right through, and you would be surprised how a world of good you'll be doing just by sitting down with them. It doesn't have to be too long. It can be half an hour. It can be 1 hour. You don't have to let it pass 1 hour at all, because I wouldn't recommend you try to study past an hour. You know, these are young children. They are going to need time to stretch their muscles, to relax. And we keep hearing relax coming up in the previous 2 presentations. So they're going to need time to relax. They're going to need time to reflect and just, you know, get comfortable. So you don't have to spend not nowhere past an hour with them. All right. And if you can put it to half an hour, that would be even better for you yourself. And because we know as parents, we work, we have chores to do at home. So we have to make sure that we stick to our schedule in order to get everything done within that evening. While you are studying with them, create study aids, you know, like flashcards or charts with important formulas that they may want to know, important dates, as well as key terms that the child has to buckle down on in order to, you know, tackle the questions that are coming on the exam papers. And to add a little variety to it, parents, you don't have to be spending time reading all the time. Sometimes it's good when you can go on the internet and find videos that are useful, that cover the same content that you are planning to study with your child that particular evening. So it gives them a break away from the whole reading practice, the book thing, you know, so they can actually sit down and take in the same information in a different way that may make them comfortable, that may make them feel entertained at the same time, fun to them. You know, I mean, these are children, so we have to try and make things appealing to them, especially in crunch times like these. Formulate questions, go through their textbook, go through their notebooks, and based on what the information you're seeing there, formulate questions and, you know, give them to answer. You know, this also puts them on their P's and Q's and really give you an opportunity to see where they are weakest and where they are strong, so you can easily tackle this. Another way we can help our children be focused and ready for PEP. Keep hearing this, teach your children how to relax. Teach them to relax. Sometimes when they're constantly reading, studying, they're not relaxing. They're placed under stress. These are young children, and we have to try our best not to get them stressed out. We have to try to get them to relax. If they're not relaxed, they're going to go into the exam tense, and then you wonder why they perform poorly when you know that on average they perform excellent. You have to get them to relax. Teach them how to, you know, teach them breathing exercises. Let them go outside and run around and play with their friends. You know, let them kick back and play their video games. Let them kick back and listen to some soothing music. You hear Mr. Sam's talking about that as well. You know, these are ways by which you can help them to relax, to feel ready for the exam. You, the parent, can just sit down and talk to them, you know, have a conversation with them one-on-one. Hey, how you ready? You ready for PEP? You ready for PEP? How is it going? You know, you think you can handle the exam? You know, what is it you're going through right now? You hear Mr. Sams talk about asking students, how are they feeling? A lot of times our children are feeling anxiety, are feeling sad, are feeling scared, you know, and they're not telling us. But if you sit with them and talk with them, you know, let them feel relaxed, you'd be surprised how much they will divulge their emotions to you. And you're going to be like, wow, I did not know you were feeling up this way. You know, you sit down with them and you talk to them, tell them some good old stories that would get them to feel comfortable. You know, all those butterflies in the stomach and the sweating is going to all of a sudden disappear. They can sleep a little better now, because, you know, sometimes because of these stress, you wonder why the child is not going to bed early at nights when you do send them to bed, they're still up. It's because of this pent up stress that they're feeling inside. You have to remind them that if they do not do well in the exam, it doesn't mean that they are not bright. It doesn't mean that they're stupid. It no means that them fool. You have to let them know that they're still the brilliant and creative individuals they have always been. You understand? So you have to let them know that the exam itself does not define who they are, does not define their self-worth. All right. So you just have to let them know it is okay, it is safe. That don't worry about it. You know, you are even the greatest people out there. They face challenges when they were children. I mean, Albert Einstein was classified as being a dunce when he was at a primary school level, you know, back in Germany. But look at him now. Look at where history has placed him now as one of the greatest geniuses ever lived. All right, so the exam does not define your child's self. You have to let them remember that, parents. You know, you have to be understanding and come down to their level. Let the child, as I said a while ago, Mr. Sams talk about it too. Let them have fun. Let them pursue other activities. Get them to take their minds off the exam for a while. All right, sit with them. Let them close their eyes and think positive thoughts. Think good thoughts. You know, let them think about their fairy tale land in their mind. Ask them to tell you, what are you seeing in your mind right now? What are the good things you're thinking about? Let them share that with you. Let them close their eyes. Let them breathe in through their nostrils and breathe out through their mouths. You know, that will do a whole world of good, parents, to relieve the anxiety that is pent up in them. Do this for about 10 minutes or so, the breathing exercises. Breathe in through your nostrils, breathe out through your mouth. Slowly get them to do these activities. Help them to smile. I don't know why, but students, you know, who are so caught up in the whole studying habit, they seem to forget how to smile, how to find a sense of humor. Teach them how to smile again. Tell them a joke or two, just like what Mr. Sams was talking about. You know, tell them a joke or two. Let them smile. Let them laugh. Let them get some endorphins running through their bodies. You know, that feel-good juice of endorphins. Let's get through the flow through their bodies, man. Let them break the tension once and for all. And of course, let them think positive thoughts. Give them a mantra. I am a big deal. I can do this. Pep no have nothing over me. I'm going to win this thing. I'm going to beat this thing. I am the greatest. I am awesome. Let them know that about themselves. Teach them these mantras, parents. Give them one mantra. Just give them one mantra that they will just keep saying over and over and over and over and over to themselves, to affirm a positive, motivational, inspiring feeling through their veins. You know, let them get ready to tackle this pep bull by the horns head on. All right. And of course, as I said, take time out to stretch and do some exercises. That will do a whole world of good. Another way by which we can prepare our children is to provide emotional support to our children. Sometimes they're feeling down. They're feeling emotionally challenged. Give them a hug. Give them a kiss. Embrace them. Smile. Give them an encouraging word or two. Let them feel good about themselves again. When you know, fathers, don't be afraid to hug your sons. It now gonna make them go the other way. Like with some man having a them head nowadays. No, you would be surprised how nurturing that is for the boy, knowing that his father have that side of him that can reach out to him and touch him deeply. Mothers, hug your sons, hug your daughters. Fathers, hug your daughters. You know, don't be afraid to express that comforting touch and pass on that positive energy that they really want to. You'll be surprised how much it breaks the tension. You know, sit down and reason with your child. You know, try to get what's going through their heads. you know, and as usual, as I said, talk to them, man. Just talk to them. Let them express themselves to you. All right. There is nothing wrong in just coming down to the child's level. You know, sometimes this is what they need in order to get to get the tension out of their heads. When they tell you how they're feeling, all right, you have to talk to them in a supportive way. Don't ridicule them when they tell you, boy, daddy, me feel sad, you know, me feel afraid. Boy, are we afraid of? Big man afraid of nothing. You know? No. Well, son, I understand your feeling, you know, I understand your feeling because guess so when I was your age too, I used to go through it. So I understand how you feel and tell you what, you can't go wrong with this. You have a thing locked, my boy. You know, let them feel, give them some positive feedback. Explain to them that their feelings or reactions are normal. You hear Mr. Sam said it a while ago. All right. And we're basically looking at how you can support your child emotionally. And these are the ways. Listen to them. You see, one of the problems children have over the years and is that they feel that their parents are not listening. So you have to let them know that you are listening to them. They sometimes it's not just the response they want to hear from you. They want to see that you are actually paying attention to them. They want to see that you are listening to them. So let them see that you're listening to them. Reassure them that everything is going to be okay. Yes, all these emotions that you're going through are justified, but guess what? Everything is going to be okay. You're going to nail this one. You're going to mash down the PEP exam. You understand me? You have to let them feel reassured, and you'd be surprised how much it turns them around. It turns them around positively, emotionally. Praise them frequently. Praise your children. No matter how small an achievement it is, praise them. Hug them and say, well done, clap them, give them a high five. Praise them, man. You know, they get 1 + 1 = 2, right? Praise them. You know, you have to, and because sometimes when we don't praise our children, it really plays on their mind. They feel as if they're not appreciated. All right. And we can't get rid of this one, can we? We have to make sure that they play and relax. Playing is good. Relaxation is good. You have to get them to relax, give them the opportunity. So even though you might be studying with them or they have a study schedule, somewhere after the schedule, let them go outside and play. Them sit down and play their video games. Allow them to get relaxed. It doesn't hurt if you sit and talk about the exam. Talk about the exam, all right, with them. Let them tell you how they're feeling about the exam itself, you know, what emotions are going on inside. You know, just talk to them. Let them tell you how they're feeling about the exam, all the things that they're that's going through their heads and so forth. Be your child's biggest cheerleader. Cheer them on. Let them know that you are supportive of them. Support them no matter what, you know, especially while you're sitting down with them and working with them. You know, let them see that you appreciate their efforts and cheer them on. Let them know that you are proud of them. All right. So once in a while, you give them a high five, you rub their heads, you pat them on the back, you know, you try to encourage them to have a go at whatever you are going through, even though you might be nervous. All right. Give them positive feedbacks no matter what. Just give them positive feedbacks. Even if the results are not favorable, give them positive feedbacks. Just tell them something, you know, tell them tell them what you want to tell them, but in a more you know, easy way to let them don't feel as if they didn't try their best or their best was not good enough. All right. Parents, another big way, please feed your child the right types of foods. And when I say foods, I'm talking a balanced diet, fruits, vegetables, and, prepare them a hearty meal and so on. Do not, and when I talk about fruits, we're talking about the real Jamaican fruits now. All right. Our Jamaican fruits have been proven scientifically. I'm not talking just in Jamaica, but internationally, that they are nutritious and they are filled with a lot of vitamins and well-needed minerals. Like, for example, one Jamaican guava. You know that one Jamaican guava is actually have more minerals and vitamins than 5 American apples combined. That's just an example of how nutritious our fruits are. So feed your child on our own local products. You see, there is a strong correlation or relationship between a balanced diet, a healthy diet, and intelligence. So remember to feed your child the proper fruits and vegetables. Make sure that they have a balanced diet. Don't be afraid to give them our traditional treats, like our thing that we'll call this now, our puddings and so on. All right, so we give them good meals so that they can be prepared mentally, fit. Don't forget their juice as well. Don't forget the juice. The juice is quite good for them, like our carrot juice, our beetroot juice, and of course our soursop juice as well. And finally, pray with your children. Pray with them. All right, make sure you pray with your children, because prayer, children with a good religious foundation allows them to actually be focused and ready to take on any task that is placed in front of them. So the day before the exam, just remember, don't let the child do any studying. Make sure the child goes to bed early, and you pack the child's bag. Ensure that everything that the child needs is already packed and in the bags. Their pencils, rulers, erasers, sharpeners, calculators, and so on. All right. Make sure that their uniforms are also prepared before that day. Make sure the child gets up early. Give the child a healthy, filling, hearty Jamaican breakfast. No cornflakes and Milo alone now. So you just have to make sure that they eat right on that morning. Double check their bags to ensure that everything that they need for the exam is packed and ready. And make sure that your child arrives at the exam center early. So let us revise now. So we prepare our children for the exams by getting information on the PEP exam, study with your child, teach your child how to relax, provide emotional support, talk about the exam with your child, be your child's biggest cheerleader, support them no matter what, cater to your child's nutritional needs, and of course, pray with your children. So parents, children, these are my challenge. That's my charge to you. Prepare your children for their PEP exam, parents. It's a big day coming up Wednesday. Your child is going to do well. Don't worry about it. They will do well. Just don't, just try your best not to, in your anxiety, in your own anxiety, put additional stress on your child. Boys and girls, you are going to do exceptionally well. You are going to nail PEP. We're not going to have not one child from Mapen Primary grade 6 cohort underperforming in this exam coming up. So you make sure that you prepare yourselves well and also do your best. I wish you all the best. And once again, let me thank you all for giving me the chance to make this presentation. So have yourselves a good evening. All the best on Wednesday. May God be with you. And remember, pray.
Mr. Ratri, it was
Yes.
indeed a privilege having you here with us this afternoon. Thanks for the valuable information shared. I know that our parents learned a lot and they will definitely put them into practice. Again, we say thanks.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ratri, again, for those tips on parenting support. Parents, the children alone cannot do it, and they need your support. So I hope that some of those tips that Mr. Ratri has just shared with us, that you take note and you're willing to use them to help your children further. Thanks again, Mr. Ratri. Just a bit of correction. My colleague had introduced Mr. Sams and said that he was guidance counselor for 5 years at the Lessons Primary School. It is actually licensed primary school in St. Hans. So just a bit of correction there.
Thomas,
Okay.
Thomas, St. Thomas.
St. Thomas, St. Thomas. Thank you.
Right.
St. Thomas.
Thank you.
St. Thomas, thank you very much. All right, so at this time, I'm going to inform you again that we will take the questions in the chat. So we're not going to be opening the mic anymore. So just type your questions in the chat and we'll take it from there. I'm now going to hand over to Miss Hamlin. Miss Hamlin, are you there? Oh, sorry, not time for Miss Hamlin yet. At this time, I'm going to invite Miss Lesolita Smith, teacher at the Maypen Primary School, to introduce our third and final speaker. Over to you, Miss Smith.
Hello, good evening. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we're hearing you loud and clear.
Okay, wonderful. Again, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great pleasure to introduce today's guest speaker. He hails from the community of Junior Crescent in Maypen, a teacher, a farmer, and an investor. He holds a bachelor degree from the Micro University College in Education, a certificate in project management from the University of the West Indies, and his diploma from the Monique College. He is also a past student of Clarendon College and this wonderful institution, Maypen Primary. And as an outstanding class teacher with excellent communication skills and over 10 years of experience, driven with the ability to complete tasks with quality in mind, not a dibby man, a passionate father and an educator with a track record of producing above average performance with students preparing for exam, a man with a plan. He motivates and promotes higher thinking with an aim of stimulating mind. His track record in 2016 to 2017, 89% of the students sitting the GSAT exam got their first and second choice. In 2017 to 2018, 100% of the students got their first and second choice. He has also received Teacher of the Term from Maypen Primary and Carlong Publisher Limited Top top 100 Teachers Award for outstanding contribution to the education system. He is presently a grade 6 teacher at the Mapen Primary School and a co-founder of the JSH Rabbits. He's an entrepreneur. His skills include developing and implementing strategies to facilitate continuous improvement among students. His knowledge of curriculum development and assessment administration make him a very valuable asset. Ladies and gentlemen, this man is well versed in his field. His philosophy is, if you judge me now, you judge me prematurely because I am still in the process of greatness. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Samuel Morrison, the teacher, the farmer, the father, the investor, and also, by no means least, the entrepreneur. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Morrison.
Thank you very much for that. I really appreciate that. At this time, I just want to take the opportunity to express my gratitude for being asked to make this presentation today. And at the same time, I want to welcome education officers from the different regions, our Principal Major Paul Scott, other principals, the team that put this session together, teachers, parents, and our students. Today, it is my responsibility to share with you some of the tips that I have used over the years to get the success rate that I've gotten in my class. Now, saying that is not with any intention to boast or anything, but I want to share with you something that I have done that works. And as you know, if you know something that works, don't change it. Share it with someone else so that they can also get the success that you have gotten. So today, I put a few tips together, and these tips are the ones that I've used over the years. And I guarantee you one thing, that if you follow these tips, parents, if you follow these tips, teachers, if you follow these tips, students, if you follow these tips, GSAT or any exam at all will not be a challenge. Now, I know that it sounds off because we know that it can be challenging. A lot of times we think that the education can be challenging, but I guarantee you, if you listen to this presentation to the end, you won't regret it and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So the first thing you need to have in the back of your mind as we go through this presentation, just one thought, just one single thought, and that is success is not an accident. So I want you to internalize this in, because this is all I needed to do to convince my students that success is by no means an accident. So if you can internalize that just for a moment, just think about it. Success is not an accident. So success in PEP is not an accident. So what is it? And how can we get success? One simple solution, just one, not complicated, just one. And that is simply to plan. And when I say plan, I mean plan properly. So if you can get this done, one solution, and that's planning, everything else. Now, I noticed that this earlier, you'd have realized that someone spoke about motivation, about getting your head space. Someone spoke about, Mr. Rattray spoke about, Mr. Sims spoke about motivation. Mr. Rattray spoke about parental support. And then Mrs. Cohen spoke about the PEP exam. Now, if you put all of these together and then you start to plan around it, I guarantee you that what I'm going to say today is going to sound so simple that you might not believe it. But just follow me. So the first thing in planning, the very first step you need to know in planning is that you need to find out a little bit about exams. You need to find out about the exam that you're going to do. So remember, all you need to do is to plan, but I said plan properly. So a lot of times when we're going to do exam, the first thing we do is to find out when is the date. So PEP is coming next week. We have grade 4 students now. We have grade 5 students now, our parents in the group. So the first thing you do is to find out when is the exam. Now that is just the basics. Now the next thing you want to know is what is it that they are required of you to do on the exam? Is it a multiple choice? Is it a short answer? Now, once you have gotten that information, because I'm sure the ministry has shared that information and the teachers have shared that with the students, because the teachers want you to pass, the ministry wants you to pass. So once you know this information, the next thing you need to know is what topics do you need to study for? The most important thing is what topics. Because if you come to school today and the teacher says, all right, Friday you're going to get a test, but I'm only going to assess you on fractions. When you go home, if you decide to prepare for everything in the book, then you might not get the opportunity to focus solely on fractions. And a lot of your energy will be spread out. So know that you know that planning, know that you know that it's fraction. When you go home, you're going to beat the books and focus solely on fractions because you know that is coming. Similarly, if you know what is coming on the exam, and you do know, because guess what? The ministry gave us a book called the curriculum. And in that curriculum, we got what are called objectives. So every day when we come to school and we're teaching you, we pick out these objectives one by one, and sometimes 2 by 2, and we give them to you just to make sure that you know exactly what is coming on the test, right? So this is what we do in planning. You need to know what you're going to do. Next step, start preparing early or start studying early. Now, most of you, if you're nervous, let me just put you at ease now. You don't need to worry because guess what? More than likely, your teacher has been preparing and help you to study a long time ago, whether or not you go home, because as a teacher, when I say students go home and study, they will not tell you, but I know that several of them won't study. But I don't worry about that. I still encourage them to. I encourage them because eventually they'll understand the importance of that. But for the time being, as soon as they come back to school, I just ask them questions. I simply ask them questions, and this is me helping them to revise. So every day I would ask them questions, and if school starts September, like the first week I start asking questions. Parents, you can do the same. Other teachers are doing the same. So every week we ask them questions. It's not necessarily about writing. Sometimes we put it in writing simply to see how they express themselves, but note one, we plan what is it that we need to know, and then we start to let them practice these things. So out of the planning, know what you need to know, find out what you need to know, start preparing. And then the last tip, so only 3 things you need to know, really. I know it sounds weird to only know 3 things and the exam is okay, but just bear with me. The last thing is repetition. If you start to study, continue study, repeat the process. Now, let me ask you, some of you know, think about this. When you're in grade 1, you were looking at some songs like some jingles, some little nursery rhymes, and you'd have heard them over and over and over. Now, you stop singing them, but years later, grade 6, some of the kids in grade 6, you still remember them. Adults still remember them. Even if it's 1, you still remember. Patakat, and all of those little things. But if you think about it, this is what was done simply for you to remember these things. I'll give you another question now. Say, for example, you met someone 2 weeks ago and the person introduced themselves to you, introduced themselves to you, right? Now, the person told you his or her name. By this week, you see the person, there's a high probability that you don't remember the person's name. What you think about that? Simple. You did not repeat the person's name over that period of time. Probably you just met the person once and then you don't see them. So a lot of times you learned something in the class last week and you come to school this week and poof, it's gone. It simply disappeared because you did not look at it over the weekend or something. Some of you might remember because our memories differ, but you're going to realize that the more you ignore repeating these things, you're going to realize the less you remember. So the key to retaining all of this information is to repeat. So 3 things. 1, know what is expected on the exam. We know and we tell you already, kids, you don't need to worry. I'm reassuring you Sometimes I'm in the class and I look at the students and I'm saying, whoa, these students are really amazing. I don't tell them all the time. And if my students, some of my students are here, they probably say, sir, that's a lie, you tell us all the time. But what I'm saying is that sometimes I see them doing some things that are just amazing. And if you get parents, you see them too. And they are just so amazing. And sometimes we don't get the opportunity to tell them that they're amazing, and we keep on pressuring them for more work. But if you really stop and slow down and see the things that they're doing, and you start to embrace it and accept it, you realize that you will get more out of them, and then you get them to repeat the process. You know what they're supposed to do already. Get them to revise again, especially when you motivate them. Encourage them, man. Tell them that, oh, you're doing well. And once they know that they're doing well, they'll continue. So the next point I want to focus on now, and I had several points that I wanted to share, but it's not coming up, so I'll just work with it from here. The next point I want you to note is that I have some little problems that sometimes derail the process. So those 3 little things you need to know, but you're going to realize that a lot of things happen that derail the process. 1, the work boring. And a lot of persons probably stop right here. Parents, it's true. The work can be very boring, and you know it because when you were going to school, you were bored too. So you would there sit down and say, Kevin, go read your book. It doesn't work like that. Simply because it's boring. And when you used to get it like that, some of you usually hide. Now, 1 and 2 parents would say, no, I'm not like that. And some kids will say they're not like that. But the reality is that every child should have a favorite subject, and every child has a subject that they don't like. And that subject is either boring or hard. But the reality is that sometimes all you need to do is to make it exciting. Teachers, we need to put questions, games, quizzes, gamify the learning process, give awards. Mr. Ratri said it best. You don't need 1 hour out of studying. You just need about 30 minutes and focus on the idea that the students need to learn, the concept, right? So just cut down the amount of workload because they already find it boring. You don't want to push it down on them. All they're going to do is to hide. It's like when you're a child and they give you porridge and you know you don't want it, to hide and throw it away. It's the same thing with the work. So the aim is to make sure that you make it so that they're comfortable doing it. The ability to study. Now, some kids don't know how to study. And another thing that parents, teachers, and the children should be able to do is to just work with somebody. Anytime you realize that you're studying and you're still failing an exam, just work with somebody. Now, some of you might say, oh, well, exam is Wednesday. Yes, it's never too late for a shower of rain. Exam is Wednesday. We still have tomorrow. Don't miss the opportunity. You can get on it. Now, next thing, stick-to-itiveness. When things get hard, some of us leave it alone. But there's no need to leave this alone because guess what? If we can make it simple for you, I'm sure you will appreciate it. Now, this work is going to be for the teachers and the parents now. Parents, sometimes when the students do this stuff, it looks really hard, especially when they say they don't like a subject. Teachers, it's the same thing. So what do? We simplify the work. Everything can be simplified, even people. We can be simplified. So we simplify it, make it so easy that even a grade 1 can do it at a grade, and we're in grade 6. Make it that easy. And you might say, what's the point? You simply start and then you increase on the complexity, right? You make it a little bit more complex, and by your quint, you'd be amazed at the results. Lastly, supervision. Whatever gets supervised, get done. If you give the child the work to do on their own, you know what is going to happen. So when you're at home, you make sure you try to supervise. Teachers, we supervise their work all the time, and the parents, we're asking you to do the same. So let the students tell you, let the kids tell you what they're doing. Now, that is just the outline. So I want to get specific now. So exam is coming Wednesday, and there's a new idea that everybody is going crazy about, critical thinking. What is critical thinking? And can I use it this Wednesday? And the answer is yes. The answer is yes. Now, it's very simple to use critical thinking this Wednesday, whether or not you're using it before. And guess what? I think Mrs. Cohen said it best. It's a natural way of thinking. So you have been using it all along, but today I'm going to add some steps to it. And these steps are going to make you realize that if you can do this, then, oh my, your result is going to be amazing. Now, let me take you through it now. But firstly, what is critical thinking? So critical thinking is really your ability to think logically. It's your ability to make connection between ideas and facts. It's your ability to make observation and interpret that information to whatever you think it means in a logical way, though. Don't leave off that part, because the reality is that when it comes down to critical thinking, everybody thinks differently. Everyone thinks differently. And this is why when you're in school, we encourage you to talk, because we're all different and we think differently. So if we're going to think critically, then it's best to share how we think so that other persons can hear our opinions, because we all have a voice, right? So if we're going to use critical thinking this Wednesday on the exam, and parents who are in grade 5, this is very valuable to you. Parents who have kids in grade 5, parents who have kids in grade 4, grade 1, grade 3, grade 2, grade 1. This is extremely valuable, because what happens with critical thinking is that sometimes it takes a longer time for some kids to develop. So the earlier you start, the better. It's a process and you have to be patient, right? But so if you understand what you need, you can start to facilitate it now. So the first thing you're going to need to do, say for example, this Wednesday, we're going to use critical thinking. This Wednesday, you get a test item, one question. And you want to use critical thinking to respond. The first thing you're going to do is look at it, read it, and say, what is the question? Sounds simple, but if you should hear my students and I all the time, you'll realize that I always ask, what is the question? It sounds simple, but this is what I've used to get all of these good results over the years. Just asking the question, one question. What is the question asking? It sounds simple and everybody can do this, Parents, you can do it. Teachers, we have been doing it. Children, when you're doing it, you can just say, what is the question asking? Just read the question, what is it asking? First thing, if you identify what it is asking, half of the work is finished. And I'm serious, half of the work is finished just by identifying what the question is asking. Nextly, you're going to realize that when you normally get the questions that require you to use critical thinking, they have some background information, right? Or a background story. So they don't just ask a question, they give you additional information. You're going to read all of that information. So the first thing, you identify what the question is, but you need to have the entire picture. So you can't just read the question and say, okay, the question is asking, how old is this person? But they give you some other information that you needed to read to help you to determine how old the person is. So you don't just focus on the question, you look at the entire question or the entire item, test item. So notice now, what is the question asking? So I want you to remember this, What is the question asking? First point. Nextly, what other information was given to help me, because it is there. It is always there, right? So what other information is given to assist me? So once you get that additional information now, it's time to get to work. So how are you going to get to work now? A few little things you need to know now. One, you need to break down that information so that you understand it. So you're going to internalize it now. Now you start to see the critical thinking coming out now. What does this mean to me? Right? So the information is there. What does it mean to me? Now, sometimes it can be a little bit more complex than others. So some might be more complex. So you draw for your pencil now. So I'm giving you some practical tips now. You draw for your pencil and you start to write it down. If it's a math question, you start to draw. And when I say draw, you draw a stick man, you draw a circle, you draw boxes, you draw anything at all you want to draw. You just draw it, because guess what? This helps you to organize your thinking. So once you can organize your thoughts now, you start to see the things for what they are. So remember, first thing, what is the question? I'm trying to drill it right in you because this is really valuable. This is the only thing you need to know this Wednesday. What is the question asking? 2, what other information is given to assist me? Because the information is there. Do not ignore that information. What other information is given to assist me in answering this question or responding to this question? So all that information is there. Nextly, let me try and interpret this data now. Let me start to extract all of this information and organize it so that I understand it for myself. Sometimes you might need pencils, sometimes you might not. But don't be afraid to fork out your pencil, guys, and just write it down. Write down, especially if they give you too much information. Sometimes it's best if you see the information, right? So you just make a note of it and separate it, organize it, right? So the next thing, you organize the information now. Now you're going back to the question. Remember I said that once you understand what the question is saying, half of the work is finished. So the next thing you're going to say, which part of this information that I organize is relevant to the question? So now you're looking to respond to the question, but not everything is going to be relevant. And sometimes everything is relevant, but you need to put it together. So you're going to say, which part of this information now is relevant, right? So once you find out which part is relevant, the work done, you solve the problem. You just put it together and solve the problem. That's it. The information is there. Now you're probably saying, really? Yes, really. Just like that. First, what is the question asking? That's it, what is the question asking? What additional information is there? Don't ignore that part. I'm stressing it because a lot of times we ignore it, all right? What additional information is given? Now I need to organize the information so that I understand it. Remember, I don't care about anybody else now. I understand it. Right? Now, once you organize it now, which part of this information is important to my question? So you can't ignore the question. 50% of the work is done once you understand the question. So can't ignore it. Which part of this information that I've gathered now is relevant to the question? You find it because it's already organized. Solve the problem. Problem is solved. No. Before we go though, there's one additional tip that I want to add to it. So if you're in class with your teacher Wednesday or you're home with your parents, kids, try this method, let them talk to you. Because at the end, I want them to share with you what is it that they did. So they want them to share the process with you. What did I do? So they're going to say, first, this is the question. This is what the question is asking. And then they say, all right, then this is the additional information. All right, see, I draw it right here on the book. See it here, mommy, see it here, daddy. And the question is basically asking me about this part of the information. So see it here, question, answer solved. Let them share with you. Now, you're probably wondering why, because not everybody thinks the same. If you notice, I said it before. So by sharing it now, you can help to guide the critical thinking process. Now, you're probably saying it's Wednesday. But guess what? The teachers have been teaching this process for a very, very long time. We taught them, they know it. So children, we believe in you. So you see, Wednesday, after you go through that process, I'm only going to ask you to do one thing. Trust us and trust yourself. You have learned it, you have it covered. We believe in you. And that's why we put those skills in you. Use them. That's it for me. So that's the final tip for you guys. I hope you found that valuable. And if you don't remember them, I'll send them to you because I don't want you to ignore these tips. As a matter of fact, I'm going to copy them and see if I can paste it in the chat right now. Everyone, you need to use this. This is what I've been using. The students in my class can tell you that they'll tell you that I ask them these questions daily. And I have total confidence that they'll do well. And if you use it with your child, parents, children, if you're going to use it on the exam, teachers, if you're using it with your students, I guarantee you'll see tremendous results. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Morrison, for those tips. To add, they're very useful tips. But just to add to what you have just said, or not even just to add, but I want to ask you just 4 questions that you can add some more information to what you have just said, because I know that there are some children who might have these questions and they want to know so much more about it. Can you share with us a creative way in which we can use to remember a particular formula?
All right. So over the years, I've used a lot of strategies, and one of them is mnemonics. That is one of them that I usually use. Simply, all right, let me give you a different one, because sometimes I change a lot. I change a lot depending on the students, because sometimes I share with one set of students, and then when I get another set, you're going to realize that it's a total different group. And I treat students as individuals, and they're all unique. So if I use something and it works with another group, it doesn't mean that it's going to work with you. So normally I try to put things into context. When we're in class, sometimes we usually let the students make songs. That is one of them. They make poems with the content. So that is something that they can always use. This is something that they enjoy. One of the reasons I don't use this as much is that sometimes it limits, and I'm not saying you can't use it. I'll encourage them to use it. But I am always about using time as efficiently as possible. And sometimes if I give you a one song, if we don't sing it over and over and over again, they tend to forget these songs. So this is why I don't tend to use songs, but it can be used, and I'll encourage anyone to use those. Write poems, especially for yourself. You can do it. But one of the things I always encourage is that if you're going to make a song with it, please ensure that you use a lot of repetition. Use it over and over. Don't just make it and then leave it alone. It's not going to, are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Loud and clear.
All right, sorry, yes, sorry, yes. So one of the things I would encourage is that if you're going to create a song or any mnemonic, so you're going to take the letters and you're going to make something that you can easily remember. I'm going to encourage the students to make sure that it's something that you are familiar with and you do it regularly. So you don't just do it and put it down. That is why I spoke about repetition, because what happens is that repetition will cover all of these. Anything that you're doing, just repeat. As the popular saying, go rinse and repeat. Just keep on repeating over and over and over again until it sticks and it works. So these are for the formula. I love to also put things into context or make association. So association is one of them that I love to use. I link it with real world activities so that they can see it for themselves. I like to make it practical. See, I start to talk all the tips now. I love to make it practical. So I like to, when they see the things and we touch it and we talk about the things in reality rather than abstract. So formulas in itself, sometimes if you can get the students to see that they are not so far-fetched and as difficult as just by memorizing something. If you look in our environment, you yourself as a child can create these formulas just by actually seeing the actual item and looking at the properties for yourself.
Thank you very much, sir. Another one is, how many seconds do you recommend that students stay on a question before moving on? Because you know that sometimes they will go into the exam and they will sit not knowing that answer, and they will sit and wait. How many seconds or how many minutes do you recommend they stay on one question?
The reality is that most of the times when we're in exam, we don't focus on time. So the best thing to do is whenever you meet up on a challenge, you're going to leave that question and then you're going to come back. So that is my take on it. You're going to leave it and come back. Now, it doesn't mean that the first thing the first thing is to seek to understand the question, the process that I went through. If you realize that you're still having a challenge, sometimes you just need a breather. Sometimes you're just nervous. Sometimes the mind is just not ticking at the time. So sometimes you just need to move on. And then once you move on, you can always come back. The aim is always to finish within the time frame. So you need to finish within the time frame. Once you would have finished, I always encourage the students, when you finish, don't come out of the exam, don't be as excited as the other person to say, yes, me finish first. It's not a race, it's a marathon. They'll tell you I said that it's not a race, it's a marathon. The race is not for the swift, it's who can endure. So the idea is, it doesn't matter if the person finish in 1 minute and come out of the exam with 100, and you finish at the last minute and come out with the exam, the two of you get the same prize. So the aim now is to simply go in, make sure that you go through the process, answer all the questions. If you meet up on a challenge, there are tons of other questions that more than likely you can do. So you move on and then you complete those questions. When you're finished, you're going to come back and you're going to start over the test. Now, my idea of starting over is to go through the test as if you have never gone through it before. And the students will tell you that. I always say that. Now, if it is that you realize that the time is running out and you go back to that question first and you realize that you can't do it, I don't know if I should say this online, but I'm going to tell you the truth. You better enemy at this time, because the aim is to make sure that the questions that you can do, you're going to revise them. You need to go back over and make sure that you look at them, you check over thoroughly to make sure that you didn't make any mistakes. Now, this is going to increase your chance of doing well, because the questions that you did know, you know them. The one that you don't know, you're never ever going to know. So don't worry about it. And guess what? Math. The beauty about selecting one of the questions, selecting one of the options when you're definitely sure you don't know something, is that you still have a chance. It's like, well, yes, you still have a chance.
Thank you very much, sir. One final question. What if the student goes into the exam and you see a question that has more than one answers that are closely related? How do you suggest the child or the children do an elimination?
All right. So say, for example, this is why I always say that you trust the process, You see, the process that I asked them to go through, it was specifically meant to, when I said that they should trust the process, it was specifically speaking to this. Sometimes you reach the last, and then you see two answers that look so similar, but when you look at the process itself, the process only select one. But the two of them look so you ignore the process now and start to elimine between the two. Go back to the process. The process will solve the problem. Just go back to it, right? I'll give you a typical example. Now look at this one, and I want everybody to listen carefully, if I can remember it, that is. All right. Apple is to fruit as carrot is to, somebody jump up. Oh yes, it's food. Now, if you ask the question, why is it food? You say, well, because apple are food. But did they go through the process? Because the process in the beginning says that apple is to fruit. It was telling you the type of food. But because they ignored the process, you just jump to the word food. What they should have said was carrot is the vegetable. So a lot of times it's just by ignoring the process that I shared with you that most persons would have gotten some of these questions incorrect. So this is why I was saying, trust the process. It will work. Believe me. See a lot of students jumping up. Vegetable. All right, guys. Very good.
Okay, thanks again. Over to you, Miss Hamlin, your time.
Thank you, Madam Stevenson. Mr. Morrison, you are getting so many comments in the chat. Yes, sir. Good, sir. We know that, sir. Thank you, sir. And I'm getting this one. You're an excellent presenter. Mr. Morrison, you're hearing me?
Yes, I am hearing you. Thank you. Thank you very much, guys. We appreciate it.
So with that, I need not say much more than thank you for being here this afternoon with us. Thank you for your sound words of encouragement, and I am sure that we all get the fact that the first thing that we should do is figure out what the question is asking. Thank you once more, Mr. Morrison, and do enjoy the rest of your
Just one
afternoon.
point. Is there a way that I could share this process with everyone? Because I would definitely want them to look at it.
Ms. Wall?
Definitely, Mr. Morrison, I will be sending it to your school.
Okay, thank you.
All right, over to you now, Mrs. King.
Wow, time really flies when we're having fun. I'm really enjoying this presentation. And at this time, I'm going to invite Miss Simone Godshaw, teacher at the Racecourse Primary and Infant School, to give the vote of thanks. Miss Simone Godshaw.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. All protocol observed. I deemed it a great honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks on this educational occasion. Let me first start by giving glory to the Almighty God for making today's occasion a resounding success. Pastor Langley, thank you for your motivating message about victory. I am sure this has strengthened our approach when faced with challenges. Mrs. Ranger Cowan, thank you for succinctly and effectively conveying information about the primary exit profile, PEP. Your presentation has provided your audience with the information and opportunity to better understand the importance of PEP and the approach they should take when planning and preparing for this assessment. Mr. Samuel Morrison, thank you for sharing your exam tips and strategies with us. Through your kind gesture, the stage is now set to encourage teacher collaboration between lead practitioners and their colleagues. Mr. Donovan Rattray, thank you for highlighting how vital it is for students to have nutritious meals and also how critical it is for parents to be involved in their children's education odyssey. This is one of the best ways to create a positive learning environment for every student. Mr. Mario Sams, thank you for your profound words and for expressing how important it is for teachers and students to be emotionally ready, especially in the upending teaching and learning environment where education has moved from the classroom to computer screens. To our distinguished invitees, parents, and students present here today, and those who are watching virtually, I thank you all for accepting the invite. To our students of Maypen Primary, thank you for that entertaining performance and reminding us not to worry about a thing. Major Paul Scott, thank you for highlighting the importance of motivating our students in a teaching and learning environment. Mrs. Ball Wilson, thank you for your heartening, encouraging words. To our moderators, Mrs. Stevenson King and Miss Tamara Amlin, may I take this opportunity to both thank you and congratulate you, colleagues, for the tremendous role you both played today. Continue to shine and strive for excellence. Finally, I leave you this inspiring quote by Martin Luther King. An individual has not started living until he can rise above the narrow confines of his individualistic concerns to the broader concerns of all humanity. Once again, I thank you all for your attention.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Godshaw. Whoa, what an interesting, exciting, informative afternoon it has been. I am so pleased when I looked at the participants. I saw that we have over 200 participants, parents, students, teachers. So great, so great, so great. I am totally lost for words, but not just that. I am so happy in my heart as well. I'm a bit anxious, because, exam has a thing on individuals when it comes. We always have a little butterflies in us. But as Mr. Morrison said, first thing first, what is the question asking? Mr. Sams, that emotional song that you played, wow, I was just bubbling along, feelings that I show, and I am so happy. And when I look at how you were presenting, I was like, oh my God, Mr. Sams is so happy. He's just bubbling. Mrs. King, thank you for inviting me to help you to co-moderate this afternoon. Major Paul Scott, Mrs. Ball Wilson, the technical team, Mrs. Mears. Mrs. Mears, I know that you're jumping for joy right now as a teacher of Maypen Primary. I am proud, and I just want to say I heard the words coming out this afternoon: attitude, creativity, critical thinking, and the most important, be calm students, be calm parents, be calm teachers. You can do it. You can just pray, and we'll succeed. Each one of us, hands and hearts together. It has been a pleasure. Thank you for having me. I now hand over to our moderator, Mrs. Stevenson King. Mrs. King.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hamlin. As we all prepare for this examination, I encourage each and every one of you to keep on preparing. In fact, it was Colin Powell who said, there are no secrets to success. It is the result of preparation, hard work, and learning from failure. Teachers, you are doing well facilitating the students in their preparation. Parents, continue to support and encourage your children. They will make you proud. Students, I have just 3 words for you. You've got this. Colleagues, parents, and students, walk good, keep safe. Enjoy the rest of the evening, and thank you very much for participating.